And we're going to charge this guy up.
Cool. All right, now before we do our final plating.
Oops. There's the blooper.
Okay.
You can just pick right up on that, Jenny. I have a close up on the.
Okay. All right, so now before we do our final plating, I want to take a moment to talk about this week's call to action. Falling apart here. What am I doing? Oh, ingredient highlight. Okay. Hello and welcome to WTF, where we help you transform food in your kitchen. I'm Janie.
And I'm Roman.
And on this channel, we talk about unique ingredients, techniques, and show you new recipes for your kitchen. Now, this week, we are doing one of our recipe reviews where we take somebody else's recipes and Roman tries it out, and we share our honest opinion about what we think about that recipe. So this week, we are doing one of Modernist Cuisine's pressurized soup recipes, because they were talking about why pressurization and doing high pressure is so good for soups, and we're like, let's see if that's true.
Yeah.
So Roman, tell us a little bit about what are we making today.
So today we're making a pressure caramelized carrot soup. So what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be cooking our carrot soup in our pressure cooker. Minimal ingredients. We got carrots, butter, salt, a little bit of water, and a little bit of baking soda.
Okay.
That's like the magic ingredient. So what the baking soda is going to do, it's going to raise the pH of it, of the soup, and under pressure, it makes the caramelization even stronger.
Okay,
So
all right.
I'm very interested to see how that comes out.
Okay, let's go.
All
Let's
right?
go for
Let's
it.
go
What are our
for it.
steps?
All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our butter into our, as you can hear, that's already on. I missed a couple of pieces. And we're just going to make sure to get that nice and melted. While that's melting away, I'm going to add my water, salt, and baking soda. And I'm going to mix that up to make sure that this is nice and melty.
Yeah. So it looks like what the magic pH, based on what we read, was 7.5. So
That's
slightly
the magic
basic.
number, yep.
So it's not really about, I think, how much baking soda, but it's really
No.
about figuring out the right ratio to get the pH, which of course the Modernist Cuisine people did. I'm sure they did probably 100 batches.
Yeah, of course they do. All right, I'm going to add that right into there. Get all that nice action, all that nice foaminess in the reaction. And then we're going to add our carrots. So these carrots are cored. During their testing, they noticed that the cores of the carrots are just a little bit bitter. And if you cut the cores out, you get a sweeter soup.
Interesting.
So that's going to go right in there. And this is very simple. We're just going to lock that up. And we're going to let that go 20 minutes.
Okay, but we're not going to wait 20 minutes.
Of course
So
not.
we already had some that we pressurized right here on this very hot bowl. I'm burning myself
Yes,
on.
it's very hot.
Okay.
All right, I got my chef hand, so I'm okay.
Okay.
Now, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
The smell is gorgeous.
It's
It's so nice.
Yeah, you can smell that Maillard reaction.
Yep.
I keep wanting to say Maillard, but I know I'm going to get
I've
made
been
fun of.
saying for years, 25 years, Maillard. And
it's Maillard.
It's Maillard.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. Okay, so this soup is very simple. Like when I made, I was like, anytime I try to remake a modernist recipe, I'm always like, oh my God, those guys, they're in the lab and they're doing all this stuff. They have all this awesome equipment. And I was just kind of stunned of how easy this is to make. This is super easy. So this is gonna go into our blender. Run it on high speed
Okay.
until it's pureed.
So I was like, oh, you can skip this whole step. You can put it all into our Paco Jet beaker, freeze it, and then
Oh
Paco-tize it.
yeah, that's brilliant actually.
If you have one, that's a time
Wow, I
saver.
never even thought about that.
Right?
That would be awesome. You know what?
I'm kind of doing.
When we do our next version, because I do want to do a corn version.
Okay.
Because I love how sweet corn is, and I
Oh
think
my God,
I
that's
think
gonna
that
be
would
so good.
benefit so much from this
Yeah.
particular technique. So maybe in that one we'll use the Paco Jet
Okay.
as our go-to.
Cool.
But okay, so we got that in there. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna get that puree right in here into our fine mesh strainer. It is important to use a fine mesh strainer. You don't want really any of those bits getting into your soup. You want it to be as smooth as possible. And then I'm going to pass that through with a
I always feel like this step is super chefy
Yes.
to get that extra smoothness. I'm always just like, just give me the bits and I can eat it sooner.
This is
right?
definitely 100% a chef technique right here. Nobody at home is trying to get their soup super smooth like this, so I will admit that. All right.
I know, but that's why it's like the extra special love that goes
Exactly,
into it.
exactly. All right, so just get that in there. And over here I have some carrot juice that was juiced, brought to a boil, and then passed through a fine mesh strainer also.
Okay, so also no solids.
So no, yeah. So this is a very simple recipe, minimal ingredients, but you get a lot of great carrot flavor in this.
It looks like it.
All right. So you want to heat up your soup after you add your juice into it, just to make sure that it's nice and emulsified. All right. So we have our modernist soup already done. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna add a little bit of zip to it.
All right.
So I got this pretty cool recepe for buttermilk foam that
Okay.
we're gonna make. Very quick, very easy, and it's gonna balance the soup out greatly.
Awesome.
All right, so what we're gonna do here is I have a little bit of buttermilk, I have some salt, and some foam magic, which is our secret ingredients in this recipe. And we're just gonna dry mix that together very quickly. I'm going to add that into my buttermilk. And then I'm gonna use this immersion blender to blend it together. You can do this in a blender if you don't have an immersion blender, works the same, just the same. All right, and then we're going to that into our canister.
All right, now, so before we do our final plating, I want to take a moment to talk about this week's ingredient highlight, which will be the foam magic. So foam magic, as Roman just mentioned, is our secret ingredient in most foaming needs. It can foam anything from cocktail foams, soups, what else? I don't know, anything pretty much that is water-based
think of.
without too much of a fat content. So as you can see today, we're doing buttermilk, which already has a decent fat content,
Yes, it does.
but it's still mostly water. So you can't foam oils with it, but everything else, foam magic is by default our go-to for our foaming needs because it also has the longest staying power. So I think we've tested it. I forget how many hours it was. It was like a lot of hours for a foam to be sitting in a tub, but we did test it and it definitely works. So it's great for either at home, for doing prep, and you just want to have, a little bucket of foam sitting around ready for service. You're ready to go. So check that out on our website, modernistpantry.com.
All right.
Okay.
Pour your little soup first.
Ooh. I love that like deep orange color.
And I'm gonna add a little bit of foam. Get a good shake here.
Ooh. It's almost like latte art.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
All right, let's
All right,
try it out.
let's give it a try. I'm gonna get some soup and some foam
Me
in
too.
one bite.
Wow. Yeah, that is
my
good.
God. That is so good.
That's so good. That is
Like,
good.
Deep, earthy, carroty
Carroty,
flavors.
super carroty.
So
flavor.
intensely carrot flavored. I like probably some of the most carrot flavor I've ever
Yeah,
had.
yeah.
It's like sweet from the Maillard reaction,
Yep.
buttery, creamy, but then you have
Smooth.
this like slightly acidic foam that's on top. That's cool and just it really. This balances beautifully. I think this would be an amazing
That
dish
is,
at
that
home,
is delicious.
at
Wow.
the restaurant, at a restaurant. Oh my God, so good.
Yep.
And again, one of the things we did not talk about, also cost effective.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Right? Because
exactly.
you're really working the technique here. You're not using like super crazy
Nope.
expensive ingredients.
And not
but
a
you're
lot of
getting-
ingredients either.
Yeah, so you're getting, you're getting such great value for an amazing dish.
Yes.
I absolutely love this. I already finished a bowl earlier, so I'm going to finish this. And you can get the full recipe in the links in the description below. Leave any comments. Let us know what you think, what else you would like to see. And until next week, from here to Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen, I'm Janie,
And I'm Roman.
and we transform
Food.